Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here and welcome to a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video we are going to be discussing part 3 of our Ninjago Hot Takes series. This is the series of videos where I ask you guys to submit your own Ninjago hot takes and I pick a few to discuss on the channel. The most recent round of this was round 3 of course. This is the third video in this series and the initial post had almost 2,000 likes and over 1,000 comments. So naturally I had to go through 1,000 hot takes coming from you guys and I chose a couple to talk about in this video. Just for a quick disclaimer, do not go out of your way to harass or attack anyone that I show in this video. This video will contain specific usernames and very spicy and controversial opinions are attached to those usernames, but please don't go out of your way to harass anyone for their opinion. We all have our own opinions at the end of the day, and no one should really care about other people's opinions like that. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to be showing the hot take, reading through it, and then giving my thoughts on it, and we will continue from there. We have quite a few to get through this time, so let's go ahead and get started. Hot take: Nia, even before season 15, was one of the most developed ninja despite only having one season that she shared a spotlight with. From learning to stand up to herself to learning to be a part of the team, falling in love with Jay, and even helping to lead the resistance during Hunted, I think that's more than Lloyd and Kai have gotten. Very interesting. So yeah, season 15 is all about Nia and her development, and I've been on record saying that I think Nia needs a lot more development, but this kind of leads me to believe that maybe Nia actually had some decent storylines earlier in Ninjago that I kind of overlooked. I do agree that the whole resistance thing is very important, especially because she was kind of co-leading that with Lloyd during season 9 of Ninjago. But yeah, I feel like she's definitely had a lot of character arcs to actually grow and develop as a character and as a ninja. I just want season 15 to kind of showcase her individuality a little bit more, I guess. Hot take: Misako is a terrible mother, friend, and wife. She's well written and consistent, but she is a bad human being. This is one that I've kind of seen throughout the community a little bit. There's been some debate over whether or not Misako is a good mother to Lloyd, considering how she kind of abandoned him in order to find a way to prevent the final battle. But yeah, I feel like right now they're pretty good with her. I feel like Misako and Lloyd don't really have any bad blood in their relationship, but in terms of her being a terrible friend and a wife, I suppose you could say that. I mean, she does kind of have a thing for Wu, and Wu kind of has a thing back to her. That's not really fair for Garmadon, but then again, Garmadon kind of meddled with their relationship during the flashbacks in season 4, so I really don't think anyone's really a good Samaritan here. Everyone has issues in this kind of love triangle, if you want to call it that. I don't know, I like Misako. I don't think she's a bad character. I feel like she's made some questionable decisions for sure, but then again, so has every other Ninjago character. Pixal has to be one of the saddest backstories in all of Ninjago. Built as an assistant and then possessed and enslaved by a demon lord. Yeah, I never really thought about it that way before. Pixal was just kind of built to be Cyrus Borg's assistant. She kind of developed feelings of her own and wanted to, build her own path, specifically with Zane, and Cyrus Borg was totally okay with that. However, the Overlord did kind of possess her for a little bit until Zane managed to free her, but yeah, her introduction into Ninjago definitely wasn't a good one for her. I felt like she was always an interesting character, but yeah, her introduction was very much basically being a servant and then being a slave. So yeah, not super great there on Pixel's end. Hot take: Ninjago was always made to sell toys, but at the beginning it felt like the writers also cared about the story. In these newer seasons, it feels as if the writers make whatever stories just so LEGO can keep on making Ninjago toys. I've seen this comment a little bit too, and I really don't think that this is accurate to an extent. I mean, sure, Ninjago has always been made to sell toys. That's what LEGO shows usually are meant to do at the end of the day. They're built as advertisements for the products at hand, which of course is a good form of marketing. Other companies do this, like Transformers has a lot of TV shows and stuff like that. It's obviously meant to sell toys at the end of the day, but in terms of the writers not caring about the newer stuff, I'm not sure if I would say that. I mean, sure, the writing might not be as good a quality as we once were used to as Ninjago fans, but I feel like the writers still care a great degree, especially some of the newer writers that we have right now. I can tell that they're trying their best and working with what they have. Obviously, to a lot of people, it's not going to compare to the older days of Ninjago's writing, but I wouldn't say that the writers don't care anymore. The Overlord is super boring because he doesn't have a specific reason to be evil. He is just evil because he is the ultimate evil. He doesn't have any character as well, and he doesn't do many intimidating things. He just lets other bad guys do his dirty work. This is a criticism that I've seen towards the Overlord a lot recently, and yeah, when you think about it, the Overlord is just kind of like the opposite of good. Therefore, he's evil, he's gonna be evil, he was always meant to be evil. In terms of other Ninjago villains, we've seen them grow and redeem themselves as villains and as characters, so I guess that's something that the Overlord doesn't really really have on these guys. And in terms of the Overlord kind of getting other bad guys to do his dirty work, yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. He literally possessed Garmadon. He was operating with Pythor for a little bit during season 3. It feels like the Overlord does kind of need all the help that he can get, and I would like there to be a story in which the Overlord's character is actually expanded on. Does he have some type of motivation to go against the first Ninjutsu Master and everyone that follows? Who knows? In terms of the story, he's just the big bad guy. Skylor shouldn't join the team. She's had her moments, but I find her to be an overall boring character. Honestly, I don't want anyone new to join the team in general. It'll feel like Cole is just being replaced. Yeah, I can agree with that to an extent. However, I don't feel like Skylor's a boring character. I mean, you guys know me. If you know me, you know that I love Skylor. I think she's an absolutely phenomenal character, and I, want her to join the team and all that. But I do agree that having her join the team could potentially do a lot more to her character. I feel like to some folks she is a boring character because she doesn't really get that much spotlight. She just kind of exists sometimes, and she's not always in the series, but when she does show up, she's kind of overpowered or underpowered depending on what season you're watching. So I feel like Skylor is kind of like a mixed bag to the Ninjago community. Hot take, you don't have to have a favorite ninja. They all have unique traits and development, so why not appreciate them all equally? I personally struggle to pick a top favorite because of this, and that doesn't mean that you should too, but I hate making it a competition. Like, each one of them is great in their own way, and they all matter equally to the story. That's actually a really interesting point. I mean, a lot of us have a favorite ninja. I mean, my favorite's Cole. I know a lot of you guys have your personal favorites, but this comment is definitely right. I mean, all the ninja are very much important to the story. You should be able to like all of them. I feel like for a lot of us that is the case, but we just have one ninja that kind of stands out above the rest in a lot of our eyes and our opinions. But I do like this comment because it does kind of showcase the importance of the team. You can like the team on its own. You don't have to pick a favorite ninja, obviously. It's not a requirement of being a Ninjago fan. But I do appreciate this comment once again because it does remind me that the team is important at the end of the day, and it's not just the story of one character. It's about the team, it's about Ninjago. Cole should have stayed a ghost the whole rest of the series. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about this a little bit earlier as well. I was kind of contemplating what that would look like in the story. Should Cole have stayed a ghost? Would that even affect his character? I feel like it would make his character a little bit more unique, but at this point in time, the story has already done a lot of things to Cole to make him stand out a little bit more. I recently did a video on that. If you haven't seen it just yet, feel free to check it out. But yeah, I don't feel like Cole needs to be a ghost in order for him to be important. I feel like maybe him being a ghost, again, might have made his character a little more unique physically, but I think that the character would have remained the same regardless. So I agree with this kind of, but I also kind of disagree. Season 11 really tried to have individual arcs for each ninja, but they failed in developing these arcs further, especially with Zane being the Ice Emperor. They spent too much time on Lloyd and the filler episodes. Yeah, I agree with this. This is something that we've kind of talked about in each one of these hot takes episodes so far, but the Ice chapter and the Fire chapter definitely kind of focused on Lloyd a little bit more as opposed to, say, focusing on Kai and Zane. I mean, in my opinion, Zane out of everybody in season 11 had the most interesting story, and it kind of felt like it took a backseat to Lloyd and Akita's story, which infinitely wasn't as, I guess, riveting to me. I don't know, I feel like with Zane being the Ice Emperor in particular, there should have been a lot more that followed that story, but instead it just kind of felt like it dropped off the face of the earth, never to be seen again. So yes, I do kind of agree with this comment in a way. I'm not sure if it's the fault of the filler episodes, but I do agree that some of those filler episodes took up kind of valuable development time. So maybe if those filler episodes were removed, maybe the season would have been a little better. Hot take, I feel like Zane hasn't been treated very fairly in comparison to the other ninja. He hasn't been treated greatly since he's always captured, taken, or damaged. Also, his chapter made him a villain instead of the main hero. He's an amazing ninjroid. He deserves to get as much spotlight as the other ninja in their seasons. That's certainly appropriate considering what we literally just talked about. Yeah, I feel like Zane's story arc as the Ice Emperor, though, that had a lot of potential to be really great for Zane's character. If Zane would have come out of season 11 feeling remorseful or maybe just messed up in some way from what he did as the Ice Emperor, I feel like it would have made the story a lot better. Unfortunately, nothing ever came from that, which kind of feels like a waste if we're being honest. But yeah, the reason why Zane is always kind of shot at, damaged, blown up, etc., it's because Zane is a ninjroid. You can get away with damaging him to showcase carnage and destruction as opposed to the other ninja. The other ninja are human. You can't really damage them in the same ways that you can damage Zane, because then it would make the series a little too graphic. I mean, Zane is a ninjroid, so yeah, he's kind of prone to that kind of stuff. He's an easy excuse for the writers characters to just kind of showcase carnage, like I just said. So I feel like he's had a lot of spotlight and development, but I do agree it's about time that the storyline kind of focuses on Zane again and gives him another storyline to call his own. Unpopular opinion, Ninjago needs a live-action movie franchise, maybe based off of storylines in the show, but the movies should be realistic and grounded. They should also be actually good and not have any studio mandates or meddling. I do kind of agree with this. I've always thought it would have been cool to see like a live-action Ninjago show or a movie, or even just a random episode making everybody live action. I think that would have been really fun. But yeah, a lot of people really don't want this. The first Ninjago movie didn't really do all that great in terms of reception and finances, so I doubt that they would make another Ninjago movie, though I do admit, again, I would like to see a live-action Ninjago something at some point in time. In terms of whether or not that would be good, I'm not sure. It's something that I want to see, though, and let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see live-action Ninjago as well. This one's kind of a long one, so bear with me here, but it says, hot take, I don't like Pixal. I've been trying to, but the writers never gave her a specific personality and little character development. I really want her to get more good focus moments to make me appreciate her more. The only time we really saw her have a focus in an episode was that trash filler episode in season 11, which really didn't help her character whatsoever. I feel like she was only originally added for Zane's development in season 3, and since then she's only acted as the helpful AI or just another background character. I think Zane is really sweet, but I want Pixal to be able to be on her own and still be an interesting character. I wholeheartedly agree with this. I don't think Pixal's a bad character or anything like that, and I still really enjoy Pixal's company, but yeah, she hasn't really had a storyline to herself. I've been talking recently about the potential of a Pixal season. I think that should totally happen. I think the potential is there, like I said, but in terms of Pixal's development, I mean, she's gone from AI in Zane's head to being Samurai X, so I suppose that's kind of development for Pixal. It's better than just being stuck in Zane's head again. But yeah, I do think she was originally introduced to be Zane's love interest and nothing more. Obviously, I feel like Pixal should stand out more, but I would love for her to get a season on her own just to make her be a little bit more individual, like you said. Hot take, the Serpentine and Ninjago give us amazing lore and backstory to Ninjago's past. We need more snakes and snakes associating with the first Spinjitzu master. I know a lot of people that would disagree with this comment, but yeah, I feel like the snakes are very important to Ninjago, and the reason why we have so many Serpentine pop up as villains is because at one point in time, the Serpentine and the human race were kind of equal in Ninjago. There were just as many snakes as there were humans. We've had a lot of human Ninjago villains, and it would only make sense that we have a lot of, I guess, snake Ninjago villains too. But no, I do agree that the Serpentine are very important to the show. I just feel like a lot of people are kind of tired of seeing snakes as bad guys because we've had it so much. Even if it does make sense, it still is kind of repetitive. Hot take, the series peaked at Sons of Garmadon and Hunted, and they will probably never be matched by the same level of quality in any other season. Apparently Ninjago still has yet to hit its peak according to people that actually work on the show, though I do agree that Sons of Garmadon especially was like Ninjago's, or one of Ninjago's highest moments, I'd say. Hunted was also pretty good, just not as good in my opinion, but in terms of them never being matched in quality, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's to come. Apparently, like I said, Ninjago has still not yet hit its peak, so fingers crossed. Sons of Garmadon isn't a great season. At most, it's watchable. That's interesting. I know a lot of people really love Sons of Garmadon. Initially, a lot of people didn't like it because obviously the design changes and everything like that were kind of affecting the community at that point in time, but a lot of us kind of grew to like Sons of Garmadon. I mean, I personally think it's one of the best seasons, so I kind of got to disagree with this take here, though I do understand why some people still don't like it to this day. Aspheera is the best villain in Ninjago. I wholeheartedly disagree, but I do respect your opinion. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that. You guys know my thoughts on Aspheera. I don't think she's a really good villain, but hey, if you enjoy Aspheera, more power to you. Just forget about nostalgia when considering this. From the poses in the intro to the ninja stating the lessons that they learned at the end of every episode, season 1 was kind of cringe. I mean, I suppose. Ninjago when it first started out was very by the books. Now that I think about it, a lot of the Ninjago lessons were kind of reiterated to us at the end of the episode, like blatantly spelled out for us as opposed to just being subtly implied, which I suppose is what Ninjago kind of takes advantage of nowadays. But I don't really agree with the season being cringe necessarily. I mean, I love season 1 just as much as the next guy. It's not my favorite season, but it's certainly not bad. But I do understand where you're coming from here. It was Ninjago's rough early start, and that's basically how I can describe season 1 in a nutshell. Hot take, Wild Brain is better than Will Film. It has better animation, better fight scenes, and just as much of a rich plot. God, this is controversial. I mean, I guess a lot of people really don't prefer this. A lot of people don't prefer Wild Brain's animation over Will Film, but I do agree that modern day Ninjago does kind of get a little bit too much hate. I mean, it's not too bad. It's certainly not as great, in my opinion, as some other stuff that we'd received throughout the series, but it's not that bad. In terms of it being better than Will Film, again, gonna have to disagree with you there. I feel like Wild Brain definitely has its perks, and like you mentioned, in terms of animation and fighting scenes, absolutely, but in terms of story, I feel like a lot of us are kind of attached to the earlier Ninjago seasons. In terms of this being a controversial opinion, I'm not sure if it's controversial as much as it is just kind of, I guess, mixed in terms of the community. I know a lot of people that prefer Will Film over Wild Brain, and I know a lot of people that prefer Wild Brain over Will Film. Just kind of depends on what you like. It's basically a pick your poison type of scenario. And with that being said, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for all the hot takes that we have time for today. That's going to pretty much do it for this one. Let me know down below in the comments which hot take was the most spicy or controversial, and let me know if you would love to see a part 4 to this series. A lot of you guys seem to be really enjoying this series so far, so let me know if you want to see part 4 as soon as possible. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description from other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.